On June 24th, 1989, according to these reports, you were driving south on the Waverly Blacktop Road. Is that correct?
That's correct. I was a passenger in a car, and the driver was going southbound on the Waverly Blacktop Road, and there was a car in front of us that had was slowing down and pulled over half on the road, half on the side, and slowed down to a stop, and we had to slow down ourselves to avoid hitting it, and then we just went around the car and passed it.
And this was sometime after you left the wedding reception in Springfield and shortly before you got home in Waverly?
Yes, that is correct.
And according to Detective Vose's report, when you got to your apartment in Waverly, you noticed the time was 11:55 p.m. Is that correct?
10:55.
I'm sorry, 10:55.
Yes.
And the report indicated that your clock was usually about 5 minutes fast.
That is correct.
So you would have arrived, according to this report, sometime around 10:45?
10:45, 10:50, yes.
And what was your reaction when you saw this car ahead of you slow to a stop and stop in the middle, stop in the roadway?
My reaction was like, what kind of idiot would do something like that?
According to the report of Detective Pinio, you described this as either a dark blue or black small economy type Ford vehicle.
Yes.
And it appears in the second interview that on July 1st, Detective Vose showed you some photographs of the vehicle, and I'll hand you a contact sheet of photos that were taken of Melissa Koontz's vehicle. I'll have you take a look at that. Are those photos the same photos you were shown by detectives in 1989?
Yes.
And is that the car depicted in the photograph? Is that similar to the car you saw that night?
It's very similar to the car that I saw.
What was the approximate location on the Waverly Blacktop Road where you saw this vehicle stop?
About 3 miles south of Old 36, the Still Tavern, and then it would have been about 3 miles south of that.
And when this car stopped and slowed down, did you see any other vehicles around the vehicle?
No, I did not.
Was there anyone standing in front of the vehicle waving their hands for this vehicle to stop?
I did not see anybody.
Okay. Would you have seen a person if a person had...
I'm sure I would have seen, because of the headlights, I would have seen a person.
You indicated that that the headlights remained on?
Yes.
Were you able to tell how many people were in the vehicle?
No, I was not.
Was the dome light on?
No.
You indicated that as you continued southbound, the vehicle was still sitting there as you lost sight of it. Did you turn around to look at the vehicle?
Yes.
And it was still on the side of the road?
Correct.
You followed the news of the investigation?
Yes.
When she was a missing person?
Yes.
And based on what you were learning from the media, did you feel that the car you saw was her vehicle that evening?
Yes.
Were you ever subpoenaed to testify in the case of Thomas McMillan?
No.
Were you ever contacted by any attorneys representing Mr. McMillan?
No.
Any of their investigators?
No.
Did you have any contact with anyone since after the last interview by Detective Vose?
No. What I stated in 1989 is still what I would state today.